Today we are going to discuss about food production from plants. So we know generally we get food from plants and animals. But in this chapter we learn how we get food from only from plants, because we are depending on 70% from plant products and the remaining 30% from animal products. Then how we get this plant product and how we get food from plant, everything we learn in this class. So basically the food what we get from plants are generally called crops. What are called? Crops. So the crops which are grown in a large area, mean the plants which are grown in a large area generally are called crops. And where these crops are cultivated are generally called agriculture. So by the process the large number of large number of cultivation of plants is called crops. And in large area, the large number of plants cultivated. That's what you see. Paddy cultivation, paddy crop, jowar crop, or wheat crop, bajra crop, or fruits and vegetables and vegetable crop. Like crop is nothing but the large number of plants which are present in large area. So in that large area, the cultivation process, how we cultivate, that process is called actually agriculture. So it is the process of cultivation. The process of cultivation is called agriculture. You have to know the differentiation between crop and agriculture. Crop is a large number of plants where we grow. Where we are growing a large number of plants. The plants are crop. And the process of cultivation is called agriculture. So then, what crops are cultivated? Generally, in India, we choose two types of crops, which are long-term crops, which are short-term crops. What are long-term? What are short-term? We look at now. So, first I am going to explain long-term crops. What are about long-term crops? The crops which takes 180 days for cultivation. How many days it takes for cultivation? 180. If 180 days took for cultivation to grow a plant, then the crops are generally called long-term crops. Is it clear? So 180 days, nothing but 4 months. And 4 months, 4 months, and which crops we generally grow for 4 months? The 4 months crops are generally called rice, wheat, chili, cotton. So rice, wheat, chili, cotton, these are, for example, I am taking. For cultivation of these crops takes 180 days. Then what about the next type crops are short-term crops. What are the short-term crops? These short-term crops are cultivated within 100 days. 100 days means just 2 months, 10 days. Within that, we can cultivate. Here you can imagine 100 to 120 also. But basically we take 100. That's all. So these are called generally short-term crops. So basically what crops we get within 100 days? So generally maize, called nothing but corn, mokkojona, and green gram, black gram. These are generally crops which we get within 100 days. Got it? For example, just example. So these are maize, green gram and black gram are as per the, here we are discussing about as per the time period, how many days it takes for cultivation. Based on the cultivation period, the crops are divided into two types, long term crops, short term crops. Then next we look at about the crops based on the season, how they cultivate. So based on the season, you know already in your social studies you learned about it. So what are they? Kharif crops, Rabi crops, Zaid. So what are Kharif, what are Rabi, what are Zaid? Just we look at once. I will try to clarify. Okay. So the first one, Kharif crops. Kharif crops are basically cultivated from June to October between June to October. As per the language Arab, Kharif is nothing but rainy season crop. Rainy crops. Because these crops are cultivated in rainy season. So we know it already, rainy season is between June to October. So within that days, if which crops are cultivated, they are known Kharif crops. So generally, what are the Kharif crops we look at in normal in our Telangana? We know it. We cultivate rice, maize, jowar, leafy vegetables, and vegetables. So rice, maize, jowar, leafy vegetables and vegetables are generally the crops which we cultivate in Kharif. And then next we look at about Rabi crops. Okay. So Rabi crops. Generally, Rabi crops are cultivated between October to June. Sorry, October to January. Excuse me, sorry. October to January. If here these are short-term crops, but if you look at about long-term crops, they will get in April. So October to January only it indicates for short-term crops, and October to April long-term crops. So in again Rabi season. Rabi season is generally called, in your textbook they gave winter season, sorry, summer season, but it is not summer. It is called winter. Winter season crops actually they are. In winter also we cultivate rice, maize, jowar also can be possible to cultivate, but I am taking pulses. You can take green gram, black gram, cowpea, groundnut, anything can be cultivated. And apart from that, leafy vegetables and vegetables are also cultivated in Rabi season. Then next we look at about Zaid. What are they? Zaid crops. So I am going to start. Zaid. What are these Zaid crops? Zaid, as per the Arabic language, Zaid means summer. Basically, summer crops are called Zaid crops. They are cultivated between April to June. April to June. April to June. So, what are the crops are cultivated? No rice, no maize. Vegetables, leafy vegetables until then okay. But specifically in these dry crops, what are cultivated? Green gram is it possible to cultivate, and leafy vegetables and vegetables crops. But we also can cultivate gourds. Gourds means like You can take snake gourd or a bottle gourd. These are. But specifically this season is suitable for cultivation of fruits like watermelon. And the remaining all gourds are cultivated in Zaid. So by these way different crops are cultivated by different seasons, as per the seasons and as per the time period of cultivation. And other than that, some other crops are here which are called long night duration crops and short night duration crops that we discuss later. Thank you. What are the agricultural tasks followed by farmers? So the first agricultural task is preparation of soil. Preparation of soil is the first agricultural task, and the second one selection of seeds. Selection of seeds is the second one, and the third one is applying manure. Applying manure is the third one. And the fourth one is irrigation. Fifth one is weeding. Sixth one, harvesting. Seventh one, storing. So just now look at here. What is the first one? Preparation of soil. And the second one, selection of seeds, applying manure, irrigation, weeding, harvesting, storing. So before, if you have to cultivate something, you must and should first of all need to make soil prepared. So for that, what we do in a preparation of soil? In a preparation of soil, first we plow it, later we level it. Okay, that again I'll explain. Next, after making soil ready, then we have to select the seeds whether they are good or bad. Got it? Good seeds are to be chosen. And next, applying manure. What manure? Whether it's a natural or artificial. Next, to provide nutrients to the plants. Next, irrigation, providing water for the crops. Next, weeding. Weeding means unwanted plants are to be separated from the crop. And next, harvesting, cutting off crop, and storing. So these are the methods followed by farmers to cultivate the crop. Then we look at the first one, preparation of soil. Okay. Preparation of soil. How they prepare soil? Number 1, plowing. Number 2, leveling. Plowing and leveling. So, plowing. First of all, we look at about plowing. Plow, for example, if it is a soil, with the help of the reversal J-shaped, or you can take like this. The J-shaped plow is present whether it is wooden one or iron one. Wooden one, the nail is only one, but for the iron one, there are 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, totally 8 nails are present for iron one. So, these plow basically use it for plowing the soil. What for they plow? Basically here, like this. They dig the soil with the help of plow is like a nail. So, that nail insert inside of the soil and they slowly start plowing, mean nothing but tilling. So, when they are tilling the soil, the internal parts come out. So, basically why they plow the soil, what is the reason? They do it in June, month of June, after the festival called Eruvaka. I already told you what is Eruvaka. So, in a Eruvaka festival, the starting period of the crop cultivation, they simply, first of all, they plow the soil properly and they remove the extra wastage which is present inside of the soil. Because previous year what roots left over inside of the soil will come out after the plowing. So first reason why they plow out. First reason, to loosen the soil, for loosening of soil. Number 2, for removing extra additional roots or some other unwanted plants. And the third thing, some harmful insects or microorganisms, they lay eggs inside of the soil. And to bring out those insects and those eggs to outside. Because if they plow it out, due to the sun rays, the eggs may die and next there won't be any problem and trouble for the crop. But if you won't till it properly, then what happen? Those insects and all be inside, and after the crop production, when the time of crop production, these all insects start attacking on crop. That's the reason we have to plow the soil. And the next reason, to penetrate the roots inside, deeper inside, they require the proper space and aeration, as well as the soil should be loose. But that is the reason, for proper growth of root and for proper aeration and for proper holding capacity for different purposes, we plow the soil. Got it? After plowing, the soil may be ups and down. So to avoid these ups and down, again they level the soil. What they do it? They level it. So plowing is done by a plow. Leveling is done by leveler. Leveler is present, which has a spade like structure like this, which helps for leveling the soil. And plow helps for plowing. Got it? So this leveler makes soil equal. So there won't even, after plowing, some lumps of soil may be present. That lumps of soil also break down by this leveler. So this leveler makes total area level. Because if, for example, in agricultural land, one area is, for example, one area, it's too high, the another area too low. Then when you are giving water, the water only utilized by the lower areas, not by the upper area. Then the upper area plant doesn't get proper water and nutrients, and the growth rate also not be proper. If you look at about the next one, due to the overlapping of water, they also may die. That's what. If soil is equal, because here in our India, if you have 1 acre of land, they make 1 acre of land into 4 or 5 parts, division, that they are called Madulu or Kayalu. So for example, if it is 1 acre of land, this 1 acre of land, as per the height, as per the height condition, they separate and they divide into Madulu. 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, 6, like that, as per their convenience, they divide it. So each and every muddy should be equal height for all plants to grow. Is it clear? So make it that equal. Who will help? Leveler helps, and so that leveling is required. Leveling is required for for breakdown of lumps of soil, and also to make the soil leveling. Is it clear? So this is about plowing and leveling. Next, the second one is selection of seeds. Selection of seeds. What is a selection of seeds? Sowing. Second one is sowing. But in that first we have to select the seeds before going to sow the seeds. Why we have to select the seeds? For example, if you look at some of the seeds are large in size, some of the seeds are small in size, and some of the seeds are damaged, some of the seeds are healthy. So to look at which seeds are healthy, for that they choose a method called selection of seeds. After selection of seeds, they sow it in soil. Is it clear? So now just listen. So basically for this, they take some of the seeds and they choose a bucket or a barrel. In that barrel, the seeds which they have chosen, they choose some seeds. For example, like here I am choosing maize. Okay, maize seeds. Maize and a corn, nothing but. So now, before going to check the seeds quality and quantity, I take 3/4 of water in a in a bucket or in a bowl or in a barrel, and in that the seeds which I am taking, that all I pour in it. When I pour all those seeds in it, the seeds which are good enough and healthy and which are in proper size, proper weight, all that sunk inside of the water, all that deposit inside of the water, and which are not good, all those start floating above the water. So which are damaged or eaten by other insects or something will start floating above the water, and which are good seeds, all these come and deposit bottom of the water. Is it clear? So this is about selection of seeds. So here the which are upper, they all are damaged. They remove that all damaged part, and inside seeds they tie it in a cloth and they keep it in a dark room. After from a seed, if a small sprout emerge, then the seeds are sown inside of the soil. If not, nowadays what farmers are doing, all these methods they are not doing it. They are directly taking the seeds and some company seeds they are choosing, and that seeds they directly sow it after plowing. They directly sow that in soil and they close it. Then this is about seeds which we sow, like chili nut, like cotton, maize, for these crops. But when you look at about tomato or one more thing, chili and rice, wheat, then for this the another method is followed. So let's we look at what are the methods. So basically they choose these seeds, even in chili or some other, they choose the seeds, and all these seeds before going to sow it, they make ready of the soil. So how they make ready of the soil? For example, this is 1 acre of land. In that, for example, they made it into 4 parts. Just imagine 1 acre, they divided into 4 parts. Then for 1 acre of land, they won't sprinkle for overall the land. Just they choose some part of the land. For example, this is a part. And before going to sow the seeds, they sprinkle, they completely fill it with the water. They irrigate it. They provide some water for it. Got it. After provisions of water, what they do it, provisions not like very much, just simple, some amount of water is provided. Later, into that soil, they broadcast seeds. Seeds broadcasting, like with a hand, they sprinkle the seeds only into this area. Got it? And they leave like that, and later they provide some manure for it, they regularly irrigate it. Then they grow into up to certain height. After growing into up to certain height, they pluck all the crop, all the plants, and they tie aside, and again it may take 1 month like that. After that, the remaining whole area they fill it with the water and they make the soil completely proper condition. Later, the plants which are grown here, they take as a bundle, they tie it, and later they replant it. By giving proper space for their growth, they require proper space, right? For that, they give proper space and proper width, length, they all look at, and they replant it. This is called replantation. The plant has grown in some certain area, the huge number of plants are grown in an area, and later they remove all those and they replant it. This is called replantation. Generally, the replantation is possible for chili, tomato, and wheat, rice. For this, majorly they go for replantation. Is it clear, dear? So this is about sowing and replantation. Sowing under directly we sow the seeds, not a big deal. But for rice, wheat, tomato, chili, for that we can't sow seeds individually. It's not possible. It takes long time. That's what they do it. They replant it. They grow in a certain place. Later they pluck all those and they replant in different areas. So this is called selection of seed sowing and also replantation. This is under come to. After replantation, what they do it next? That is the matters. So we look at next. Applying manure. Manure here, natural manure and artificial, both. We look at both. First, we take natural. After we look at artificial. First we take the natural one, later we take artificial one. Okay. So first, applying manure, natural applying manure. What they apply? Natural. So first of all, they take in first compost. If not, vermicompost, compost or vermicompost. If not, they take one more, Panchagavya. If not, green manuring. So making compost, vermicompost, Panchagavya and green manuring. By these four methods, naturally we can apply manure to the soil. So how they use this compost, vermicompost, Panchagavya, green manuring, just I will tell you right now. Just listen to me. Okay. So we look at Compost first of all. Compost is nothing but basically every farmer has both sides two coins. Sorry, two sides of one coin. What is the two sides of one coin? Nothing but a farmer compulsory they have crop field along with that animal husbandry. So basically they have cows, buffalo at their home most. So the excretory waste part of animals they store it or they decompose it in area, and the food which they provide for the animals, remaining leftover food and nothing but grass, leaf litter along with the dung, they take a pit. In that pit all these materials are poured inside and they leave like that for some days. When it goes decomposed for 70%, later they dig it and they transfer to they shift to the crop yard. This is one method of composting. Composting. In a pit, they decompose dung and leaf litter. That is to only 70%. Got it? The 70% material is decomposed. Then, what materials in compost? In a pit, they add dung and leaf litter. These two they add in a pit and then decomposes for 70%. Later the decomposed 70% material is transferred to the crop yard. This is one method. If not, the another method is there, vermicomposting. In vermicomposting also they take pit. What they take? They take pit. Vermicompost is nothing but the compost which is made by earthworms. That is called vermicompost. So this vermicompost is basically used. How it is used? The very simple method. So here, there we took only dung, right? Here, they take some amount of soil, loose soil is filled there. After that, they put a dung material here, dung. After, they fill it with a cocoa peat. Cocoa peat, coconut fiber, they add there. That's what I'm writing here, coconut fiber. After again upon they add some amount of dung there with slightly they sprinkle soil. And upon that they leave some earthworms on that. They leave earthworms on that. After they cover it upon with gunny bags or maybe banana leaves or some other leaf litter on that, and they sprinkle every day, sprinkle water. So the way they left earthworms here, they left earthworms upon the layer, right? So these earthworms slowly starts feeding on the dung and it excrete. Feed on that, excrete. Feed on that, excrete. Like continuation, they move from one layer to another layer to until ending. So once it enters into until ending, this area until there it excreted, that area whole soil become like this. The dung becomes like this. It won't be like smoother. So it become like a curdles. This all they extract. Then what will happen to the earthworms, madam? They go deeper inside, that's all, nothing more than that. Okay, they go deeper inside, that's all. And from the upon they take it and they sieve it. There will be a machine, sieving machine, on that they pour this vermicompost and they sieve it. So remaining leftover earthworms and their wastage, everything they bring back and they pour in it, and they take that vermicompost and they fill it in bags. So 250 kg, sorry 25 kgs is 450 or 500 cost is about. Okay, and next what they do with that earthworms again. So until then the earthworm number increases. Then they increase the pits and in same procedure, soil, dung, coconut peat, again dung upon that little amount of soil and leaf litter or not banana leaves, all these they fill it, again they leave earthworm. So this process continues and they produce vermicompost. Then what is the use with this vermicompost? Vermicompost is highly rich in nutrients. Got it. Highly rich in nutrients which gives support for the plant growth. Understood. And next, Panchagavya. Panchagavya preparation is very important, and this very simple process also. So just for the Panchagavya, Pancha, 5 things are required. What are they? Cow dung, cow urine, cow ghee, cow milk, cow curd. What they add? Cow dung, cow urine, cow milk, curd, ghee. If possible, you can add coconut water and banana additional. And all these we have to add and need to mix it well properly. First of all, need to take a dung. In that need to pour urine, mix it properly. Again add milk, mix it properly. Again add curd, mix it properly. Again add ghee, mix it properly. Some people they add jaggery also in that, jaggery bellam. And properly need to crunch it and pour in it, again mix it well. And for that need to take a barrel and with the help of stick we can mix it. And again need to pour coconut water and bananas, ripened bananas just crush and add in it, mix it well. And cover it with a cloth and leave like that for 1 day. Next second day open it again, mix it, again close it. Like the process continues for 11 to 15 days. After 11 to 15 days, your Panchagavya will be ready. That Panchagavya they filter it properly and they fill it in bottles. 1 liter Panchagavya is used for 10 liters of water. So for 10 liter of water, 1 liter enough. And the 10 liters we can sprinkle almost 5 to 6 acres. Almost, that's it, 5 to 6 acres can be, 5 to 6 not possible, but 2 to 3 acres we can. Then how this Panchagavya is used? Dung provides nitrogen, phosphorus, all those, and jaggery provides iron and iodine, milk, curd, and all these, whatever the nutrients, magnesium, zinc, calcium, copper, iron, whatever the nutrients, all these required, all are provided for the plants by adding of this Panchagavya manure. And next, last and final, green manuring. What about this green manuring? Very simple. Grow any crops which have fiber more, like gongura, nothing but red sorrel, or leafy vegetables, if not jute plants. So they grow it and until certain height. After they replow it inside of the soil. Yes, you heard very clearly. I'll again repeat it. They grow until certain height. They replow it again into the soil. They leave like that. It happens in summer majorly. They do it. So because of that, what happened? When you leave the plant like that, the whole body decomposes properly and provides proper nutrients to the soil. And in that soil, if you grow other plants, they get proper nutrients. And here for the manuring, here we also can follow one more method, that is crop rotation. So 1 year one crop, another year another crop. For example, this year you choose the rice, next year choose groundnut, and again rice. Like change the crop, then also the nutrient replenishment takes place in soil. Then what about artificial nutrients? Artificial nutrients are basically which are used by farmers. Is nothing but, here there are different, but we don't have time enough now, so I'll tell you about the artificial chemicals which are used for running manure. Simply I will tell you that is urea. They provide urea and potash and NPK. NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. These urea majorly used artificial manuring, and NPK, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, potassium, and potash. These are the major artificial artificial fertilizers are used to give, to replenish the nutrients into the soil, but this may cause damage to the soil because chemicals kill useful bacteria also. When you look at about the compost, vermicompost, Panchagavya, green manuring, they help to improve the healthy bacteria and good bacteria, which keeps environment healthy and soil nutritional. So just go for the natural manuring, not for the artificial. Got it? So students will. So before we have discussed about, we plow the soil, later we sow the soil, we sow seeds, and after we apply manure. Then after applying manure, then what is done? So every day we have to irrigate it. Irrigation means giving water, supplying water. Excuse me. So in a olden days, ancient days, they used to go with different methods like Duckley and Rahat, like different methods. But here in the traditional days and modern now, we are using bore wells, majorly bore wells, and directly we put the pump lines from canals to farmyard. This is one method. But basically, how we irrigate the water, how we provide water for the plants. Basically, for some plants, they leave the land flat and they provide basin irrigation. First I will go with a basin, later furrow. Basin ante, for example, base should be flat. For which crops the base will be flat? For rice plants, wheat. So for the rice and wheat, even maize, for that the plant, the soil surface is flat. When you look at about vegetables, in vegetables, some people they leave it base, but some people they plow it like furrow, like this gap between. Here the plant will be there. In between they pour water. So this is furrow irrigation method. And drip irrigation system, this is modern method. Drip, sprinkler, these all are the modern irrigation methods. Drip irrigation system one is, and one more, sprinkler. Sprinkler, drip. Sprinkle, how they irrigate, whether it's a furrow or drip, generally they pour water. If not, with the help of pipelines they give water. But now in a gardens, for these sprinkler, in gardens we know it, which have the nozzles. A tube for that nozzles will be present. When we switch on motor, the water rotates and it sprinkles to the areas, to the plants. Majorly we find it in garden. And another one, drip irrigation system. Basically this is also possible now. So they connect with a pipelines, and where is a plant, there they put a hole. Where is a plant, there they put a hole. The water fall on the roots only. One drop of water. Got it? Then madam, that one drop of water, how it gives? But one drop of water is pure, completely utilized by the plant, and morning to evening continuation, if thoroughly the water is provided for a plant, it grows properly, as well as the production rate also increases. So by this way we provide water for the plants. So some of them have bore wells, from that they provide water. Some of them don't have the bore wells, they wait for rain. And some of them have ponds and lakes beside. With the pipelines they connect to farmyard. And next, when we start irrigation, then onwards we start get many problems like insects attack, pest attack, and along with that weeds start growing. So many pests, many insects and weeds start growing in farm area. So basically, what pests are grown? Pests like green color one and different pests. For that, what are used to control pests? Basically, natural method we can use neem, chrysanthemum like chamanti akulu or marigold. Even Panchagavya, before I told you that Panchagavya, these are used for pests, even to control insects. Insects are nothing but like mosquitoes. So here, as to control pesticides as well pests and insects, they make use of some chemicals here like DDT and Endrin, Aldrin, BHC, nothing but benzene, hexachloride, aldrin, BHC, benzene hexachloride. These are of insecticides and pesticides. Then what about weedicides? Weedicides, for here we have two types of plants, monocotyledon, dicotyledon. Mono ante which are single cotyledon, di double cotyledon. Basically here the weedicides are used for dicotyledon plants, that too 2,4-D. 2,4-D is a chemical is used to control weeds and unwanted plants which are grown in between the plants. So by this way we can give water irrigation and pesticides, insecticides and weedicides for controlling of pests, insects and weeds. We use different. After this, the crops grow up to certain height. Then here we have a doubt, madam, then what are the unwanted plants are grown in between the crops? You know it, the parthenium is one of the weed which grows in between. Parthenium is one of the dangerous weed. It not only causes harm to the other plants, and basically weeds are grown, what will happen to other plants? Than actual plants, the weeds absorb more nutrients, so that the virginal plants is nutrients, and also the production capacity decreases. This is a major point. And now Parthenium is one of the plant, basically when you inhale the pollen grains of that Parthenium, it causes respiratory problem, and if it is in environment, it causes many problem to other animals, and also it do not let other plant to grow, so that it be very loss for a farmer. And one more thing, amaranthus, we are eating totapura, that is also a weed actually. And other than that, chinta and some other, there are different some other plants are here which basically grow as a weeds here. So what are they? Just we look at once and we continue. So basically, as per your textbook, here there are different weeds are present here. They are actually garika, vanja, varpilla gaddi, majorly grass here. Grass, Parthenium, Amaranthus, and one more Garika and Varpilla Gaddi, and some other are there here like Pulichinta, and these all are commonly, regularly we came to know, and Guntagaragara. So these are the names which we find in our common languages. So those all are the weeds that cultivate, they grow in between the plants, and they absorb more amount of nutrients and cause damage to the other crops. So by this way weeds cause damage. So that's why they remove the weed. The process is called weeding. So first what we did it, we prepared a soil, we plowed and we leveled the soil. Later leveling, we selected seeds and we sow it into the soil. And later we provide manure and we irrigate it, we provide water. When we start providing water, then onwards pests, insects, weeds start growing. So to control pests, weeds, we use different chemicals, and as well as we remove the weeds by a tool. With the plow also we can remove it, or by hand picking. And after that the plant grows up to certain height and it starts producing grains. And these grains, to extract, we follow a method called harvesting. What is the method? Harvesting. So basically, the time of harvesting, the plant crop, some people, they cut it. Like for example, wheat and rice, we cut half. And later, after harvesting, they do one more thing, is known threshing. Threshing is nothing but olden days they used the bullock carts. Now they are using tractors. Even nowadays they are directly take that grains to mill, and there itself the uppermost husk. Threshing is nothing but the removal of husk from a seed. Basically, if it is a seed, the seed has another coat, seed coat. It's called husk. Basically for rice, wheat, red gram, green gram, black gram, for Bengal gram, groundnut. Upon that we find some husk that is to be removed. So for that we have to thresh it. Sometimes if you know, if might be know it or not, there near the villages, they put on the main roads, highways majorly. The villages which are beside highways, they pour all the grains on roads and they cover it with a turpentine cover or something. So because of that, when vehicles are moving on it, the grains thrushes. Threshing is nothing but if something heavy weight goes on that, the husk removes out from the grain. But if it happens on main roads, what happens? Sometimes the turpentines may be slip, the vehicles may flip over and causes many accidents. So that's the reason government took an initiation and started giving threshing machines to the farmers for threshing purpose. And later threshing, the husk which is separated from seed should be separated. Further they do winnowing. So they put a fan there and they take some grains and they do towards the wind. So when they are doing towards the wind, the husk goes off and grains fall down. So this process is called winnowing. What is that process called? Winnowing. They winnow it. After winnowing, they with a hand they pick out some rocks or anything may be present in that grain, and later they pack it in bags, gunny bags, and later the packed materials are transferred to and shifts to where it is godowns. To the godowns they shift it. So there they store it. If for example this threshing, winnowing for the rice, wheat, for that. Then what about vegetables and mirchi, cotton? They are plucked by hand picking. They hand pick it and they store it in cold storages. Every dry grains they store it in hot places, and like where sunlight, air properly available, they store it. And like godowns. If for example you look at mirchi, cotton, vegetables, where they store it, they store that in cold storages. So by this way the cultivation of crops takes place. But sometimes the time of storage, rats, cockroaches or some other animals, insects, they may cause damage to the grains. So until harvesting is one of the tasks. After harvesting, storage is another task. So if grains are not stored properly, then it leads damage to the total harvested material, and finally we won't get food proper. So even now you don't think that only grains here, cereals, pulses, vegetables, and even onion, ginger, garlic, all these are also stored in storage in godowns, and some are in cold storages, and later they sell it in the market. But sometimes, however they work hard on it, they won't get proper rate for their crop. So just support farmers. What do we have to do? We have to support farmers, must and should. So again, starting onwards we will continue. So look at your textbook once again. Here is a machine, modern harvester machine has come.
This modern harvester machine, it works on everything, for plowing, for leveling, for harvesting, everything. So once again we will continue from our starting lesson. So what we have discussed in this lesson. So in this lesson we have discussed about different crops cultivated in India, and discussed about different crops cultivated in our state and district as well as in our village. So basically, what are the crops cultivated in our state or district anyway or in India? Majorly cultivated rice, wheat, and jowar, bajra, and ragi, millets, different types of millets, pulses, cereals, and vegetables, leafy vegetables, and coconut, tea, coffee, sugar, turmeric, chili, and cotton, jute, flax, hemp, and oil seeds like sunflower, groundnut, and palm. So these are cultivated in India, even in Telangana state also. In Telangana, except tea, coffee, remaining most everything is cultivated. So this crop cultivation takes place in two manners basically, based on the term period. So some of them take long term, some of them take short term. For the long term ante like they take 180 days for complete harvesting. Until harvesting it takes 180 days. They are known long term crops. Which takes less than 100 days are called short term crops. And next we also have discussed based on the season. And for example, whether it is a rainy season, winter, summer. So based on that, again seasons are divided into three types like Kharif, Rabi. Got it? And Zaid crops. Zaid and summer crops. And later we also have discussed about long night duration crops as well as short night duration crops. So in long night duration crops, what we basically discuss about it, long night duration for the flowering of a plant required more than 2.5 hours. In short duration crop, for flowering of a plant, it requires less than 2.5 hours. So based on that, we have to choose whether it should be Kharif or Rabi. So for basically long term crops, we discussed about jowar, maize, like. For short term crop, we discussed about wheat, chili, cotton. And some of the plants are there neutral. In any season, any night durations, they flower. So they are generally called neutral plants. Am I right? And later we also have discussed which country is topmost in production of food. That is Japan. Japan is in the highest production of rice. And second place goes to China. After that, India. So we have the greatest land, but even though we are not getting proper grains here. So the reason is technology, lagging of technology, maybe scarcity of water, maybe sometimes due to the land, problem of land also. And here the very important thing I forgot, farmers celebrate 3 celebrations. One is Eruvaka. Eruvaka is a festival which they celebrate the starting of the farming, to be giving a thanking to the all the sources which are present around, like air, water, everything. And the next festival is celebrated when they get grain to their hand, that is Pongal. And sometimes some crop get in the March, then they celebrate Akshaya Tritiya. So like there are different celebrations are celebrated by farmers. And next we also have discussed about different agricultural practices like preparing soil, sowing of seeds, applying manure, irrigation, watering, weeding, and crop harvesting and storage of crops. So how we prepare the soil? We plow the soil with the help of plow, and later we level it to crumble the lumps with the leveler, and later we select the seeds which are good weight and quality. And majorly in Rabi season, the crop which we grow it, that seeds they put aside specifically, because Rabi season grains are heavy weight and good quality seeds. So that's what. And that seeds they sow it in soil, and later they provide water for the crop. Every day they provide water for it, and when they start watering, then onwards many insects, pests are attracted, and as well as it is affected by bacteria, fungi, and so on. Then to control bacteria, bactericide, for fungi, fungicide, and for virus, viricide, and as well as to control weeds, weedicide, to control pests, pesticide, to control insects, insecticides. Like different chemicals are utilized. But tell me, all those utilizing of chemicals good for the crop or not? No, it's not good. Then what should be used for controlling all those? Natural manure is very good for controlling that pests, insects, weeds, and all those. So weeds not only can be controlled by chemical, even we also can be picked up with our hand and can be cleared with the machines also. And later, after some days, the crop reaches up to certain height and flowers and become fruits, and that fruits be extracted, like vegetables, fruits, and like grains, cereals, pulses, all these. And that we harvest it with a harvester machine or by the hand by using of sickle. If not, if like tomato or potato, like some of the plants, we pluck it with our hand. Even chili, cotton, we pluck it with our hand. And based on the grain, some of them are put into a dry area like godans. Based on the vegetables and different types, they put in the cold storage. So by this way, a farmer works a lot from the morning to evening throughout their life. So give respect to the farmers and read this lesson properly. Anywhere if you get doubt, just give me a call. I'm ready to clarify your doubts. It's clear, students? So I hope our lesson is completed. So any doubts, just give me a call. I'll clarify your doubts. Have a nice day. Bye dear.